is future readiness, learning from the legacy of COVID-19. So what has been the legacy of COVID-19 for language assessment experts in your view, Chris?
Well, I think the biggest one has been that educators, learners, and other testing organizations have faced enormous challenges due to the restrictions on in-person assessment in many countries around the world. Next steps in the careers of students have been uncertain, where traditional entrance and exit tests have been disrupted. And teachers, of course, as well, have been constrained in their ability to evaluate learner progress. It's certainly much harder to do things like that online, particularly when you don't have that experience. It's sort of forced that experience on people in many ways. But anyway, in this strand, what we're looking to focus on is what we've learned from this. So how have language assessment and learning systems become more resilient, if at all? We're particularly keen to receive proposals on alternative approaches to producing scores, which can be used for gatekeeping purposes and just innovations in language assessment in general.
A lot to think about in that theme, I think. Are there any kind of examples of the disruption that has taken place that you can give us?
Well, sure. I mean, in the case, for example, of the IELTS test, with all the restrictions globally, far fewer IELTS tests have been able to be carried out. So what that has meant is that thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. I don't think we have an exact number yet, but huge numbers of students have found that their opportunities to take IELTS in order to study overseas, for example, have been greatly reduced. So that's a pretty major problem as far as tests leading to greater or reduced employment or study access is concerned. So that's probably the kind of the most stark example that I can think of.